Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, David Burrows, and this is episode number 72.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Tell me you're ready.
Well, hello, everybody, once again, and as always, thanks for taking the time to stop on by here on the show. And yes, please take the time to subscribe and share with 5 new friends. Hope you had a great weekend. Did you get a chance to get out and celebrate St. Paddy's Day? Do you celebrate St. Paddy's Day, or are you Irish, or are you just Irish for one day? Well, we were Irish for a couple of days, but one of the days we did, we got down, of course, last week we interviewed Scotty Bollert from the After the Lounge band, and great interview last week. Thanks again for that, Scott. And we chose to go see them down at Liquid Johnny's, downtown Sarnia, on Saturday, March the 16th. We were there, and we were hanging out. We got some pictures here we'll put up on the screen, hanging out with some friends, new and old, if you will, from Liquid Johnny's, downtown Sarnia. Had a lot of fun. After the Lounge was great, and we stuck around for quite some time. So Liquid Johnny's put on a great party, and of course, After the Lounge, a great show. And there's some of the pictures, and now we're going to take a quick look at some of the video footage that we got After the Lounge, and then we'll be back with a very special interview. Take a look at this.
Bash, that's cool. You can catch fish while you're under there too, right? Might have about 3 or 4 eyes though here in Sarnia, but it's okay.
Fashion lady, rock your blouse, rock your blouse. Save our city, save our city. This morning I got myself a beer. This morning I got myself a beer.
We're at the lounge and you're watching the show with David Burrows. No, we're not. Yeah, we are.
All right, well, there you have some footage. Once again, from Liquid Johnny's. Thank you, Liquid Johnny's, for a great St. Paddy's Day bash, as well as After the Lounge. Thanks for putting on a rockin' show. All right, well, very excited for this next interview. A very special and very personal interview with our new friend, Ron Eckerman. Now, Ron Eckerman is the former tour manager of Lynyrd Skynyrd. He's also one of the plane crash survivors, and he has a book out called Turn It Up. Now, the book doesn't just talk about the plane crash, although it does touch on that, but it's a very humorous and fun book, and we had the privilege, if you will, to talk to Ron Eckerman. He was in Houston, Texas at the time we did this interview, and he shares a lot of different things about his book and many different memoirs, primarily about Lynyrd Skynyrd. So, take a look at this up-and-close exclusive interview with our friend Ron Eckerman, and then we'll be back with more. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this week here on the show, we're very, very excited to, I'm not even sure how to introduce the enjoyment we're going to have out of this interview. A very special man who has a very special story from the music world. And his name is Ron Eckerman, and he has a book talking about the memoirs of the 70s with many different bands, but specifically Lynyrd Skynyrd. Joining us here this week, Ron Eckerman. Thank you, Ron, for being here today. How are you?
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here. I'm really happy to do this show.
Thank you. You're in Houston right at the moment, are you?
I'm in Houston at the moment. I'm in between coasts. I've lived in Los Angeles for the last 30 plus years, and about to move to the East Coast, back to the D.C. area.
Okay.
So I'm usually either in New York, Los Angeles, or one coast or the other. So I'm in transition.
Right. Now, you first got into the music industry like pre-Lynyrd Skynyrd. You had creating a lighting company. Is that correct?
Correct. We started out. We kind of noticed there weren't any. When I got in the business, there were no touring lighting companies.
Right.
So bands would come to town and they use spotlights a lot of the times. So we said, there's a need for this touring lighting. And so we were one of the first companies that put that together and got lights out with groups.
Right. And let's mention some of the groups that you worked with.
Oh, we did War, we did Loggins and Messina, we did Peter Frampton, we did Fleetwood Mac, we did Humble Pie. That was the first band I worked with, really.
And when talking about timing, let's get to the Lynyrd Skynyrd. I mean, that happened about, 1976 for you?
That's when I joined them. Their attorney approached me in 1975, and I went out with them on, it was January or early February 1976.
Right. And I noticed in your book, at least in the first chapter, you start right off with that right away. You just kind of a Reader's Digest version of the plane crash. And I know you've told the story many times, but can you share what you can with us today about that?
Yeah, what I did, first of all, in the book, the way I wrote the book, I didn't want to get into this heavy plane crash thing,
Yeah.
And so I start out each chapter of the book with one paragraph that deals with a crash and moments before the crash and what I was feeling and what was happening at that time inside that plane as we fell to the ground. And the crash itself, one reason I wanted to write the book is to deal with the plane crash. And there's a lot of misconceptions about it and a lot of stories out there. And the fact is, we were in a plane that ran out of fuel. It was as simple as that. But there were different things that led to that. We were running rich in one engine because of a faulty magneto. But we didn't crash because of a mechanical problem. It was because the pilots didn't figure the fuel consumption correctly. And we had to sit on the ground for about an hour waiting for one of the band members to arrive because he was late.
Right.
So, that led, if we would have had that hour of fuel, we would have easily made it. If the pilots had taken on the correct amount of fuel, we would have made it. So there's a lot of contributing factors. It's a terrifying experience, and it's haunted me all my life, and I feel somewhat responsible for it because I knew we had a mechanical problem and it was causing the engines to run rich. But from the research I had done, everybody told me we were still safe to fly, and that just had to compensate for the rich running engine. And at the very next stop, we had a mechanic and a new magneto there waiting for us. So It was a very tragic event that was totally preventable.
You really struggled quite a long time before you were able to share this story, and you also said you had a hard time listening to Freebird.
Right. I could not listen to that song for about 10 years after that crash.
Yeah.
It would come on the radio. I had to change stations.
Right.
And, I had a lot of post-traumatic shock, and a lot of emotional damage because of that crash.
But what brought this whole book on, besides the plane crash, obviously, but, I mean, because there's so many memoirs and great stories in the book.
Yes. The book is actually, it's not a downer of a book at all. It's actually quite funny.
Yes, absolutely.
People write me and say, man, I haven't laughed so hard in 20 years. It's just that it does deal with this tragedy, and actually all throughout the book I spread it out.
Right.
But, what brought this on was I had this story to tell, and I kept, one thing was I read a few other books that had been written, and they weren't, I don't know, they weren't factual enough for me.
Yeah, okay.
They had, opinions and things. So I wanted to get the story right. I wanted to, make sure the fans knew what happened and the world knows what happens. And, so that was one reason. And then I had some friends that were going, man, you've got this book, you've got to write it. You've got to write that story. It's going to be great. And I am a writer, or I desired to be a writer. I wrote my first book about 20 years ago. And then I was working for many years and didn't want to write. And then, so they said, you've got to write it. They recognized that I was a good writer from other things I do. And finally I said, okay, I got to buckle down and do it. And so I actually quit work and just put all my time into the book.
Let's talk about the music, okay? I mean, and thank you so much for sharing that personal story about the crash. But let's talk about the happiness, I guess, if you will, of Lynyrd Skynyrd, which is the music. And, again, we were talking earlier about Lynyrd Skynyrd's music, and I couldn't agree with you more when you say they're really taken for granted.
They are the most taken for granted band, I think, in music history. Because look at this, if you think about it, they are the only band in history that has got their songs on heavy rotation on all the classic rock stations and most every other station, like even some talk radio stations.
Yeah.
Play those guys almost every hour.
Yeah.
And that's 40 years after those songs were written. And I'm not comparing them to the Beatles, but the Beatles did not do that.
Yeah.
40 years after the Beatles released songs, those songs were dead.
Yeah.
Lynyrd Skynyrd, hear him every hour on any classic rock station in the country, and most of them in the world.
And moved on, through generations. I mean, I always refer to my children. My daughter's 15 years old, and I say Lynyrd Skynyrd, or especially I say Sweet Home Alabama, and she knows the song, of course. And she learned it from the movie Sweet Home Alabama, of course, right? That was that song in there in different ways. But and you go into commercials and theme songs and movies, and
Forrest Gump had a lot of them.
Yeah, Forrest Gump totally had lots in there, and just very. Very iconic. I mean, they certainly, set the way and gained attention for the Southern rock world.
Well, I think they defined the Southern rock genre.
Yes.
Completely. They didn't start it. I would have to say the Allman Brothers did that, probably.
Right.
But or even before the Allman Brothers, there were some country rock guys out there, the Birds and the Flying Burrito Brothers and people like that, kind of started in the '60s. And but it never got coined as Southern rock until Lynyrd Skynyrd came along. Good song.
And do you sing at all, Ron?
Well, I was. There's a lot of clubs around the country that give me great offers to come in and sing at like 1:45 because they have to close their doors at 2 and they want the house to
All right. Well, thanks for an honest answer. Well, maybe we can look at, I'm in Sarnia, Ontario, of course, and maybe we can look at having you come down here. We'll see if we can talk more about that and get you down here. So the book, where can people get the book, your website, whereabouts?
Yeah, the book, I even do signed copies if you go to the website, and it's www.turnitupbook. Don't leave out the book part, so it's turnitupbook.com. You just go there and you can buy the book, or you can buy even a signed book. You can buy an audio book there. There is a great audio book out, and I'm very proud of it. And it's a good read. And I'm not saying that because I wrote it and I'm trying to sell copies.
Yeah.
It's just a damn good read. It's fun.
Yeah.
And it deals with everything, and something I accomplished, and that I managed to do what I wanted to do when I wrote this. And that was to take the reader, transport them back in time, plop them right there on my shoulder.
Yeah.
And, go on to Lynyrd Skynyrd. I managed to pull that off. And,
you certainly have.
So it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
And then you can also get it at Amazon and any of the online booksellers just about anywhere in the world. And,
Great.
It's in the bookstores,
Well, we'll be sure to put that website up on the screen for you and share more people where they can get your book. Just before we wrap up, Ron, you were in the music industry and you were doing many things happened to you, and now this book. But besides the book, you're doing something back in the music industry again, are you not?
I have. I retired from the music industry. I produced a TV show for about a year, and I produced a film many years ago, and that never made it to the big screen. That's the film, I think. But anyway, I'm turned back into the music industry, and I'm managing a couple of bands, and you're going to hear a lot about them in the next few months. There are some. I've been very selective, and one reason I haven't got back in the music industry is because I just couldn't find the talent that I wanted to represent.
Right.
And I finally succeeded in that.
Great. Well, we'll look forward to we'll look forward to having you
Right.
back here on the show and showing off the new talent that you've discovered.
You know, I'll try to get them up to your area too. You know,
That would be great.
definitely.
Ron Eckerman, thank you so much for taking the time to be here this week, and we're very, very excited for your book, and congratulations on the book as well. And like I said, I haven't read the whole thing. I've read a bunch of it, and it is quite humorous for sure, and I'm looking forward to finishing that up and sharing it with all our viewers here.
Yeah, you will laugh, and you may cry.
That's okay. That's great. Ron Eckerman, ladies and gentlemen, here this week on the show. And we're going to hear more from Ron Eckerman in the future. As he said, he's got some talent he'll share with us. And we're going to try to bring him here to town as well. So, Ron Eckerman, once again, sir, thank you and have a great week.
Anytime, David. Thank you.
Well, as I said, once again, very up-close and personal interview with our new friend, Ron Eckerman. Ron, thanks for taking the time to be here on the show. I know you're very busy, but it was very enjoyable to talk to you on camera, as well as Ron spent quite some time talking to me off camera as well. So that really meant a lot to me, Ron. So be sure to check out his website, turnitupbook.com. Get his book. It's a great book. You can get it in paperback form or in audio format, whatever you choose, right? So turnitupbook.com. Now, that was not the whole interview. The whole interview is about 20 minutes. I didn't have time to put it all here on the show. But if you would like to see the whole interview, visit bouncethecat.net. You've heard me talk about Bounce the Cat. Rick Perry, my friend in Florida, promoting independent artists, all indie, and him and Ron are working together. And you can see the full interview at our new show at bouncethecat.net. Now, if you want to find out more of how Rick and I are working together, bouncethecat.net. That's all you got to do. So once again, Ron Eckerman, thanks for that, and Bounce the Cat. Shout out to you, my friend, and check out bouncethecat.net to find the whole interview, 20-minute interview, once again, with Ron Eckerman. Okay, got to take a quick break, and when we come back, Gary Ward. Yes, he's here. He made it here this week. I'm not sure if he's all there, but he's here. Anyway, take a look at this, and we'll be back with Gary Ward.
Mornings with Max and Heather.
The main Jedi lesson is to stop trying so hard. I mean, that's what the Force is all about.
K106.3.
All right, well, there's just some of our sponsors. Take the time to visit our sponsors. They do support the show and many things that we do here on the show. So we thank our sponsors. Take the time to visit their website. And if they're local, take the time to visit them at their store here in Sarnia, Ontario. All right, well, Gary Ward, I don't know. I almost had to cut him out of the show. I wasn't too sure he was going to show up. He was supposed to show up here last week. Anyway, he's here, and he says he's got some things to share with you. Gary Ward's going to be here every week. And, well, let's see what he has to say. Take a look at this. We'll be back with more.
Oh, hey, I'm Gary Ward. Welcome to Gary Ward's Rant. This is a little weekly show that we got going on here where I give you a little bit of information every week to keep you informed of the things that you need to know. This is our maiden voyage, and I just like to apologize. I'm sorry, because last week it was supposed to be the start, but I had a minor shopping cart accident in the frozen food section, you understand, and this crazy woman from the UK came around the corner, and she was on the left-hand side of the aisle, when in North America we're supposed to be on the right-hand side of the aisle, and she was on the left-hand side. So she hit on my cart. Alrighty, my corn went flying, my eggs went flying, my bread went flying, I lost everything, and then she ran over my left toe with the cart, and I got a swollen up toe, and then I had to go to the hospital. So I had to go to the hospital for a couple of days and have a little bit of Jello, and that cleared it right up, and they sent me home. So I'm here this week to get it started, and that's why I'm here. So this is Gary Ward's Rant, like I said, and you know it's coming to you because of Dave Burrows and the show, right? And so that's really what the focus of this week's rant's going to be, is really all about Dave Burrows, because I don't want to get this thing started off on the wrong foot, you understand? I want it to start off on the right foot, not the wrong foot. And because of that, I have to really just, let Dave know that he was supposed to have given me a roll of quarters. That was the deal, that I was going to give him a Gary Ward's Rant every week, and he was going to give me a roll of quarters. Alrighty, because I got my retirement fund here going on, as you can see, and all I got in there is pennies. That's all I got is pennies in there. It's no good to me like that, you understand? I can't use the pennies. The pennies are no longer accepted in North American society, so I can't use them. It's useless. That's where the pennies can go, you understand? So you got to get me my roll of quarters, Dave. I'm just saying. Alrighty? I know you got short hands and deep pockets, I know, but you need to do something about that, alrighty? So get my roll of quarters for next week. We'll have something more important to talk about because nobody wants to waste the whole rant on Dave Burrows, you know. I mean, that's a waste of a rant, really, if you ask me. But I had to do it because he needs to know. Alright, I wanted to pull him aside and not waste it on the video, but he wouldn't listen to me because he doesn't listen in quiet rooms. He only listens to Gary when Gary gets upset. So now I'm mad. I need my roll of quarters for next week. I'm Gary Ward. We'll see you then. Hopefully I'll have my quarters and we can get things rolling. Thanks a lot, because I'm Gary Ward.
Well, there's Gary Ward, and we did agree to have him here on the show, although I don't recall agreeing to giving him any quarters for his retirement fund. Pennies, maybe, at this moment. Gary was only supposed to have 70 seconds here. He took 2 minutes. So, Gary, I won't charge you extra for being here on the show, so we'll just call it even for this week. And I'll tell you what, see how much you're going to get paid. Heads, I win. Yeah, tails, you lose. Not this week, no quarters this week. Anyway, if you'd like to get in touch with Gary Ward, find him on Facebook. I don't know his email. He hasn't told me his email yet, or I'd put it up on the screen. So if you want to know more about Gary Ward, send me an email to the show at davidburrows.ws, and I will find out how you can get in touch with Gary Ward, and I'll forward emails to him somehow, some way. So, Gary Ward, thanks for being here. Looking forward to seeing you here next week. All right, another quick break. When we come back, more updates on INDIEFEST 2013 coming to Sarnia.
Cheeky Monkey, the greatest CD store. Cheeky Monkey, movies and more. Cheeky Monkey, the greatest CD store in town. Cheeky Monkey, the greatest CD store in town.
All right, welcome back one final time here on the show. You've probably heard by now the show with David Burrows along with my co-organizer Kevin Thorne from Basement 143 Productions. We are putting on INDIEFEST 2013. All indie, that's all it's going to be. All independent artists. Right now we're focusing on the rock genre of independent artists. It'll be down at the Stubborn Mule. Check out our website, INDIDEFEST.ws. And we want to say a very special thank you to our title sponsor, NSPEC. They're a local environmental company here in Sarnia. And it's great because they're local supporting local. Now, we're looking for some more local bands here in town and all around to be at INDIEFEST 2013. So if you would like to apply to be at INDIEFEST 2013, visit our website, INDIEFEST.ws. Click on the apply button. Now, you're going to go to INDIEFEST.ws. You're going to go, well, who are these people? I don't know who they are. Some you may recognize and many you won't. So we've set it up. You can go to the website and listen to the music and figure out the ones that you would like to come down and watch and enjoy down at the Stubborn Mule. The first one beginning April the 20th with an incredible, they are the next mega global band, Blurred Vision, coming down from Toronto, and the Riot Within will be there to open up for them as well as Roy Cunningham, keyboard solo player. He'll be there, and we're going to have some other announcements for that night as well. So check out the website, INDIEFEST.ws, and all that we ask, buy a ticket. $10, you're going to get 3 to 4 bands every night, and we're going to do this once a month and leading up to a festival in August where we will have 10 to 12 bands all in one day. So find out all the information once again at INDIEFEST.ws. That's all the time I got for you this week. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week and an even better weekend. We'll see you next time right here on the show. Bye for now.